おいおいおーいチョップ
Chainsaw Man is very, very, very weird. Chainsaw Man is very, very, very weird. And yeah, this is one of those rare animes that were hyped a lot even before its release and was, well received even after the release. Something that is quite a rarity in entertainment media these days. Looking at you, Cyberpunk 2077, and let's be honest, the anime was pretty cool. There was nothing too bad in the anime, right? But I read the manga before watching the anime. Did it ruin the anime for me? Yeah, probably. Let me be honest with you for a minute. I don't get Chainsaw Man. Not at all. I don't know why a lot of people like it. Maybe this is not something that my taste buds can sense. I really can't relate to any of the characters, even to the main character, and I can't see a reason to like any of these characters. And I am very inclined to think that this anime and manga is overrated. Yes, I said the O word. But I see something very special in Chainsaw Man. I see a mangaka that has a very different thought process, and I think that alone deserves recognition. In September of 2022, I started reading the manga. This is the first time that I've ever read a manga, I think, and the manga was different from anything I've ever seen. Simply put, Tatsuki Fujimoto thinks outside of the box. And I mean it. The premise of Chainsaw Man is very simple. Tatsuki takes a bottom-of-the-barrel member of society and tries to make him happy. A very simple thing. I mean, anyone can interpret this story as whatever they want to, but I think this whole story is an illusion. I am saying that this whole story is just like a laundry that launders money. The minute you see it from a different angle, you see it for what it truly is. That's where Fujimoto is truly talented. Of course, every single anime has a deeper story, we all know that. This may or may not end up with the power of friendship, but this is not that. I promise you, this is not some stupid gimmick like that. This is two stories stacked together, just like I said before, party in the front and business in the back. Well, what's the business in the back? 2 words: psychological horror. What makes Chainsaw Man psychologically horrifying? Many things, but nothing drawn or written in the manga is truly horrifying. There are many famous panels in the manga that a lot of people refer to as horror, but as I said before, didn't really get it. And to be honest with you, these are not horrifying or disturbing at all. They are unique at best, but they are not scary. A lot of people say that the Darkness Devil is truly horrifying, but to me it looks like a cockroach with its hands on its hips. Yeah, the true horrifying parts of Chainsaw Man is not written or drawn. It is built within the characters themselves: Denji, Aki, and Power. Yes, they look exactly the same as the three characters from one of the big three: Naruto, Sasuke, and Useless. I believe this is something called a visual pun, but who cares? Although the trio feels like familiar old anime tropes, they just aren't. They are different. They are way different. Well, you see, the main character is the only one here who's really supposed to live. The rest of them are there only for his character development. So basically, everyone except the main character is disposable. And Fujimoto uses Denji like a doll, a voodoo doll, to devastate the reader. That means you. Pretty smart, right? That's what I said. Fujimoto thinks outside of the box. And every other character in the whole story, they are just incarnates of different forces. Makima, Kishibe, Reisei, Kobeniska. They are all just unstoppable forces of nature. And since Denji is our voodoo doll, he just gets beat up by every single one of them. Now that's what I call character development. The beginning of the story is what really lays the foundation of the whole story. Denji at this point is with a weird dog called Pochita. Pochita being a dog really tells you all about their relationship. Imagine Pochita as a Labrador. That makes it very easy. Pochita loves Denji, Denji loves Pochita, they live a happy but financially poor life. They are in debt, in massive debt. So just like everybody else, Denji dreams to live a debt-free, normal life. So basically, the main character's dream is to become normal. And shortly after, Pochita sacrifices itself to give Denji another chance at life. And then Denji gets recruited into a special organization which gives him a debt-free, normal life. Exactly what he dreamt about was given to him. This is where the psychological horror creeps in for the very first time. What really happened wasn't this. It was this. It was a trade-off. Denji traded his lovingly compassionate partner for the life of his dreams. Yeah, he didn't have a say in this, but you get the idea, right? And it's very important that Denji doesn't get a say in this because he doesn't have control over his life. Yes, control. And so Denji has traded his partner for his dreams. Now what? Now he's just empty inside. He doesn't have Pochita by his side, he doesn't have anyone by his side. All he has is a half devil, half human, and his colleague, who definitely doesn't care for him because he too has life goals. This is another glimpse of horror. Denji is trapped in a life where he doesn't have anyone, where all his needs are met, and the most important part is he doesn't get a say in his life. Either he does exactly what he is told to do, or he dies. Yeah, that's kind of horrifying. And Aki and Power shows us exactly what's happening. It may be too hard to see, but those two are polar opposites. You see, Aki is fixated on a goal, revenge. This is something that he'll even give his life for. And Power, on the other hand, is not fixated on anything. She doesn't have huge goals, she isn't interested in any materialistic wealth, nor does she care about anyone else. But she cares a lot about herself and her companions. And just like that, when Denji lost his companion, power finds hers. God, that must have felt like a slap to Denji. Imagine your pet sacrificing its own life to give you life, and someone out of nowhere tries to sacrifice you to get their own pet back. It's a genuine conundrum, a quandary, if you will. I'm sorry, I just had to do that. Yeah. It really doesn't matter what the personality of power is. Yes, she's a pathological liar. Yes, she is selfish, but she has figured out life before everyone else. She is in total control of her life. That's the genius of Tatsuki Fujimoto. He makes pretty bad male characters, let's be honest. Denji here is basically an anime trope, and don't even get me started on Aki. I mean, personality-wise, male characters don't really have anything to work with, but they have a certain depth to them. But the female characters in the anime, they are one of the most well-written characters I've ever seen. Power isn't even a character anymore, she's a lifestyle. And Power almost always is just happy. Either she's playing with her cat or she's just flaking out of a fight. She's selfishly happy. And it just shows that control over life is just a choice. And it also shows how Denji and Aki are both losing at life. Speaking of control, Makima is really not a representation of control. Rather, she represents the lack of control. That's just the way I see it, because I really don't see Makima as a human. I see her as a force of nature. Everyone she associates with has a life without control. Denji, Aki, Angel, and even Kishibe. Listen, he's a drunkard in his 50s who fights. Obviously, he has no control over his life. And Makima simply isn't a devil. She's a force of nature that affects everyone, but rarely her effects don't work. And that's where Himeno comes in. Himeno is Aki's chance at redemption. It's just like how Denji got Pochita and Power got Miyavi. And Aki basically ignored her. Aki was given multiple chances to get his life in control and be happy, but he didn't care. He didn't want it. He wanted revenge. And he gets the worst death out of everyone. Aki's death starts a different chapter in Denji's life. We can't really see how it affects them, but you can still feel it, right? I mean, the future devil was very right. It is the worst death of all. And it marks the end of a life that was not valued. All of us get the gift of life, but if you're using it to hunt down a devil, if you're using it to chase down revenge, I don't think you really value it that much. This death is very important because this is exactly when Denji starts to realize what truly happens around him. It may be a bit extreme, but Denji wasn't really controlling anything around him. He wasn't in control, but a situation like this breaks almost everyone. And this is exactly why Aki's death is important. But the beginning of the end doesn't begin until a force of nature is completely smothered out. A force of nature that keeps even the wretched daydreaming. Hope. What in Chainsaw Man represents hope, or rather, whom? If there is anyone who's physically relatable to Denji, it's Rese. But Rese isn't just an entity for Denji. Rese signifies hope, hope for a happy life, and Denji is finally seeing life for what it truly is, and he's chasing it, only to be stabbed in the back. This marks the first strike, losing hope. Then what's the second? The second was the death of Aki. Then what's the third? The third was the death of Power. Remember before I told you that Power wasn't just a character, she's a lifestyle. And this is exactly what she is. She is the light of the anime. She resembles a life well lived, and she shows a valuable life. Fujimoto didn't just kill a character, he flicked out the only candle in the room. There is nothing to dream about in his life, nothing to take control of, and nothing to live for. And that's it. That's the end of the story, unfortunately. Yeah. Bye-bye.